Hi, I'm Leah Ahava and I am a modern Orthodox Jew, but that doesn't make me a better or worse Jew than you. Now, I know that most of my videos are about random topics that are of potential interest to various groups, but this one is specific to Jewish practice, so I've written it to address Jews specifically. Non-Jews might find it interesting, and I'm sure it can't hurt to learn about new paradigms, but what I'm about to say may or may not apply or translate to other traditions. Let's start with some definitions. In order to have any discussion of being a good Jew, we need to first answer the question that's far less simple than it sounds. What are the Jews? Are we a religion? Are we an ethnicity or race or a culture? The answer is none of the above. I'll explain. The Oxford English Dictionary, or OED, defines religion as a particular system of faith and worship. Okay, the Jewish people have a religion, but the existence of atheist, agnostic, and non-practicing Jews as full members of the group make applying that a label to us as a whole untrue. A specific religion is one of our features, but it is not the single defining feature. The OED defines ethnicity as the fact or state of belonging to a social group that has a common national or cultural tradition. How far do I really need to explain that the Jews are multi-ethnic? Our diaspora has brought us everywhere. There's Ashkenazim, Sephardim, Mizrahim, Igbo, Bukharian, Kaifeng, and more. So nope, we aren't a single ethnicity. And by the same fact, we obviously aren't a single race or culture either. We're multi-ethnic, multicultural, and come in all colors, shapes, sizes, and hair textures. Also, you can't convert to a race or ethnicity, so that eliminates those as contenders to define the Jews as well. The OED defines a family as a group of people related to each other by blood or marriage. This does fit. We all trace our origins back to Abraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov. But what about converts, you might ask? Families adopt members. Adopted family members are equal to inborn and married-in family members in all respects. That is essentially what a Jewish conversion is. The term tribe also fits us, which Merriam-Webster defines as a social group comprised chiefly of numerous families, clans, or generations having a shared ancestry and language. Remember that regardless of local vernacular, we pray in Hebrew. The only exceptions to this are groups whose diaspora included a loss of the language, and many of those work to get it back when they're reunited with the rest of the people. So we're a tribe/family that includes many ethnicities, cultures, and other subgroups you could split hairs about for days. But why is that important in a video about the ranking of Jewish religious observance? Because look at the language we use when we compare Jews. You hear phrases like more Jewish, better Jew, more observant, and more orthodox. And I have a problem with all of these phrases and any synonyms you can come up with. When looking at the Jews as a family, saying that someone is more or less Jewish is like saying that they are more or less part of the family. To me, that's ridiculous and offensive. You're Jewish or you're not. You're in the family or you're out. And even if you're estranged from the rest of your family, you're no less part of it. I know that was a lot of buildup for something so simple, but there it is. A Jew is a Jew. The better or worse, more or less, etc., comparisons are linked to the practice of Judaism as opposed to tribal identity. So I'm going to tackle that from a religious perspective. Since you practically can't get two Jews to really agree on anything, I'm sure there will be things that come up that you feel differently about. That's fine. Share your machloket or disagreement in the comments. Jewish wisdom teaches us that everything we do has three aspects: intention, action, and result. Those are pretty much self-explanatory, so I won't spend too much time defining them. Your intention is what motivates you and what you're trying to accomplish. Your action is what you actually do or don't do. And the result is what happens because of your choice and execution of it. What isn't self-explanatory is the implication here about what it means to be a good Jew. 1. We as individuals do not control the world around us. We can have good intentions and actions that seem good at the time, but still hurt other people. Like if you want to make your friend happy on their birthday and you make them a cake, but you find out the hard way that, whoops, your friend is allergic to one of the ingredients. We can have good intentions, botch our attempt to do something about those intentions, and still have a good result. Like if you attempt to make your friend a birthday cake and it results in a revolting and meme-worthy monstrosity, but your friend thinks it's so funny that it's the highlight of their day. Someone could have selfish intentions, mediocre actions, and positive results. Like if someone who is generally stingy gives tzedakah well below their means in order to impress someone else, but the recipient is then able to afford a meal they otherwise would have gone without. 2. These were relatively simple examples, but the world we live in is not simple. Everything and everyone is connected, and this fact has only been increasing in recent generations. As much as I love the Prince of Egypt, to look at your life through heaven's eyes is too much to ask. It's far beyond us as individuals to measure our own intentions, actions, and results over the course of our lifetimes. Even if we had perfect memories, we are trapped within our own perspectives and biases, and many of the results of our actions are invisible to us in both short and long term. Results of some of our actions could even extend beyond our lifetime. So if we can't quantify our own impact on the world, how can we possibly presume to compare it to anyone else's? Even if we could somehow quantify another whole person's actions and results, we could never fully understand their intentions. So any attempts we might make to say one person is a better Jew than another can only be shallow and incomplete. In my experience, anyone who claims to be able to make such assessments is usually trying to manipulate others or sell a product. Another issue I have with ranking Jews is that it flies in the face of concepts of Achdut and Ahavat Yisrael, or brotherhood and loving the tribe of Israel. There's no mitzvah of ranking our neighbors, but there is a mitzvah of loving them. We are taught that the second temple was destroyed because of a failure in this regard, and if we want to bring Mashiach and have the third temple built, fixing these failures is how to do it. We're also taught the 4 species we shake together on Sukkot represent different Jewish expressions. Taste symbolizes learning, and smell symbolizes deeds. The etrog has smell and taste. The lulav has taste but no smell. The myrtle has smell but no taste, and the willow lacks both. You might think that the etrog is the best of the 4, and that maybe we should only shake that on Sukkot. But the mitzvah is not complete unless you hold all 4 of them together in your hands. We as a people cannot function divided. The lulav brings me to another issue with ranking Jews. As we said, taste here is symbolizing learning and the ability and the reality is that we do not all have equal access to learning. We live in a world where we don't all have equal access to learning, as I said. As a Balat Tshuva, I have had different flavors of Jewish learning experiences, pun intended. Frankly, I have found that the process of institutional Jewish learning involves sorting between applicable wisdom and infighting propaganda, no matter what perspective it comes from. Granted, my experiences are limited to Reform and Orthodox settings, and we are far more diverse than that. Growing up Reform, my religious school taught very little about Orthodox ideas, and what they did teach us was framed in a way intended to make Orthodox observances seem onerous, outdated, and sometimes degrading. But at the same time, my Reform education had a far more practical approach to tikkun olam, or repairing the world, than anything I've encountered in an Orthodox institutional setting. In fact, I've talked to Reform people who didn't even know that tikkun olam was a value embraced by Orthodoxy at all. My Reform education was also the only setting I've been in where Jewish educational quality and content was not segregated by gender, and where it is common for women to teach men at any age. It's also worth noting that my Reform religious school education included medically accurate sex ed, which is something I have heard is often lacking in Orthodox day schools. I did not go to Orthodox day school, so others who had that experience can share about that in the comments. Orthodox programs I've participated in have done a great job teaching me how halacha works and why it works that way. They help me grow my connection to my heritage and reach the place in life where I am today. But many of those teachers have been at least as judgmental of Reform Jews and other groups as those groups have been of them. My Reform teachers might find my current practices strange and even feel like my adoption of them is an indictment on their own practice. But my Orthodox teachers have been the ones who judge my family and pressure me to change my moral compass. From my experience, Orthodox folk as a group seem to think they're the best Jews, and Reform folk as a group seem to think they're simultaneously better and worse. It's an unhealthy dynamic for us all, and a lot could be gained from letting our assumptions go and just talking nicely to each other. Or dare I say, learning from each other. Yet another issue I have with the whole ranking thing is that there are 613 mitzvot, and it's literally impossible for any one person to do them all. For instance, only a Kohen can do Birkat Kohanim, priestly blessing in shul, but that same Kohen cannot serve as a shomer or watcher for a deceased person. The 613 mitzvot are not meant to be done individually. They're meant to be done as a community. People excel in some mitzvot more than others, but the mitzvot are not weighted. Nowhere does it tell us that keeping Shabbat is more important as a mitzvah than being careful not to spread lashon hara or gossip. Nowhere does it say that keeping kosher is more important than tikkun olam. It is natural for humans to organize themselves by prioritizing huge lists, but that doesn't mean that any of the different ways we prioritize halachot are right. We're taught that the Torah has 70 faces. There's no one way to do things. We should all be striving to be better people. None of us are done learning new things while we're still in this world, and it can be helpful to use language in a way that processes one's growth without comparing oneself to others. You may hear me say that I became more observant as an adult, but when I say that, I mean that the current me is more observant than past me. I've learned more, and my actions are more committed to halacha than my younger years. That's the path I'm on, and it's been a healthy one for me. But my path is mine, and your path is yours. Whose is better? Irrelevant. Just like the old Talmud joke about whether the man with the dirty face or the clean one washes his face after emerging from a chimney, One who asks the wrong questions will never find the right answers. Thank you for watching my video. If you liked it, do all the YouTube things, like, subscribe, comment, share with your friends. I'd really like to hear your thoughts. I really care about this topic, and I'd love to see what you have to say. That is all for now. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.